I wanted to go over a really short video with you. So I'm going to pause this and transition to desktop capture, which hopefully will work. And we'll kind of go from there. So be right back. Okay, I am back with the oldest man in America right here, Mr. President. I don't want to really get into politics right at the moment. But yes, I did vote for this guy. I didn't really have a whole lot of options there, but yeah, I just had to choose from one of the two old men, basically, and one of them was a little bit more of a jerk than the other one, so I voted for the one that had dementia, basically. But I'm not gonna go into the whole politics right now, anyway. But I wanted to go over this super quick video because I haven't really actually watched this yet. I'm hoping it's the thing I saw clips of, but I wanted to play this because if this is the right video I'm thinking it is, that I did see part of, then this is kind of like a big deal in terms of like proving that us UFO alien believers, whatever you want to call us, were right the whole time. Right? Because I 100% totally believe that aliens exist, UFOs exist. I don't know if all the UFO sightings are 100% legitimate, because I'm sure a lot of them might be incorrect, or some of the crop circles might have been faked. I don't know. I don't think every single sighting or every single eyewitness is correct or 100%, but I do believe that aliens have visited this planet before. Probably still continue to do so. I just don't know in what degree that is. Let's just watch the video and then I'll react maybe, or pause somewhat through it, or maybe I'll wait till the end. We'll see. And then I'll let you go.
Closely scrutinized our airspace, including enhancing our radar to pick up more slow-moving objects above our country, around the world. In doing so, they tracked 3 unidentified objects, one in Alaska, Canada, and over Lake Huron in the Midwest. They acted in accordance with established parameters for determining how to deal with unidentified aerial objects in U.S. airspace. At their recommendation, I gave the order to take down these 3 objects due to hazards to civilian commercial air traffic and because we could not rule out the surveillance risk of sensitive facilities.
Okay, so you don't know if these are aliens or if they're like our enemies, quote unquote, right? So I just shoot them down. If we start an intergalactic war with some alien species we don't know of, it's fine. Just shoot them down. Unless they actually work, like he said, there was like a facility. So like, are they actually spying on our facilities? Were they actually near any facilities, or were they just looking for an excuse to shoot things down? Plus, he's also slurring his words quite a bit. It almost sounds like he has no idea what the hell he's talking about, does it?
We acted in consultation with the Canadian government. I spoke personally with Prime Minister Trudeau and from Canada on Saturday. And just as critically, we acted out of an abundance of caution and an opportunity that allowed us to take down these objects safely. Our military and the Canadian military are seeking to recover the debris so we can learn more about these 3 objects. Our intelligence community is still assessing all 3
which you'll never actually tell us about. It's just going to be shipped to Area 51, or rather S4, and we'll just never hear about it and hope that everyone forgets this ever happened, right? Oh, maybe it was a weather balloon.
They're reporting to me daily and will continue their urgent efforts to do so, and I will communicate that to the Congress. We don't yet know exactly what these 3 objects were, but nothing right now suggests they were related to China's spy balloon program or that they were surveillance vehicles from any other country. The intelligence community...
Yeah, I totally forgot about that whole spy balloon thing. That was ridiculous. Well, when was this? 2 months ago. In February 16th. So yeah, like right now it's April 30th, so it's been a little while since then. But yeah, I totally forgot about that whole freaking spy balloon bullcrap. But yeah, it's probably not. Like, it probably is a UFO from what he's saying. It doesn't even look anything remotely man-made. And if you've seen some of the footage of how some of these objects are like physically moving aeronautically through the sky, is like almost physically impossible for a human to withstand any of the forces that are happening from the maneuverings of the ship. It's like, it's insane the amount of like the different trajectories and the sudden changes and stuff. It would like almost liquefy a human skeleton if a human was in there without some kind of nullification of gravity that we just don't understand or have.
Current assessment is that these three objects were most likely balloons tied to private companies.
What? That's bullshit. Come on.
Studying weather or conducting other scientific research.
Uh-huh.
When I came into office, I instructed our intelligence community to take a broad look at the phenomenon of unidentified aerial objects. We know that a range of entities, including countries, companies, and research organizations.
Just call NIDS. What was it, like National Institute of Developmental Science with Bigelow? Just call them. There's plenty of like high profile people who were actually studying this for years, and this would definitely not be the first time a government was looking into UFOs and aliens. So why don't you just look at the information they had from other programs like Project Blue Book and everything? Come on.
Operate objects at altitudes for purposes that are not nefarious, including legitimate scientific research. I want to be clear. We don't have any evidence that there has been a sudden increase in the number of objects in the sky. We're now just seeing more of them, partially because the steps we've taken to increase our radars, to narrow our radars. And we have to keep adapting our approach to dealing with these challenges. That's why I've directed my team to come back to me with sharper rules for how we will deal with these unidentified objects moving forward, distinguishing between those that are likely to pose safety and security risks that necessitate action and those that do not. But make no mistake, if any object presents a threat to the safety and security of the American people, I will take it down. I'll be sharing with Congress these classified policy parameters.
But what would you consider a threat to the American people? I mean, obviously it would be a threat if like some objects just starts randomly like zapping people. But if an object's just flying, like, that's why I hate how militaristic and like gung-ho a lot of our army is in terms of like, if it's something we don't know, we have to shoot it down because it's in American airspace. We don't own the air. Technically, we don't even own the land. It's just we all share it as like a planet, right? And it's like, if it's obviously like a craft from a different country, that's one thing. I can maybe understand that. But if it's something that we have no idea if it's man-made or not, or if it's something that's doing stuff that's like almost impossible for a man-made human-driven vehicle to do, maybe just don't randomly shoot it down willy-nilly if it's not outright attacking anyone. Oh, this video might be a bit long. I might have to... But, like, the American people have been, like, brainwashed since the 50s to be afraid of UFOs and aliens, right? We've had so many... How many horror movies have there been where the aliens are attacking, invading? You had the War of the Worlds thing with it on the radio. That scared people because people actually thought that was actually happening, and that was like pretty cool, honestly. But you have that, you have like the different alien movies, you have like all these movies. The public has been brainwashed into thinking aliens are evil and bad and that they're gonna attack us and kill us and blah blah blah. But we really have no proof that aliens that are visiting us, because I do believe aliens are visiting us, and we have no proof that they have any negative intentions towards us. Quite the opposite, in fact, I would feel. Because, like, if aliens were a threat to us, I would think they would have done something a long time ago, right? Because, like, throughout the dawn of mankind, there have been sightings of objects in the sky. You can go the whole ancient astronaut theory approach with ancient aliens if you want or not, but there have been like cave drawings of saucers all the way up to modern times. And I'm pretty sure that if aliens just wanted to take over the planet or kill all humans, they would have done that a long time ago. They're not just going to randomly come down and start zapping us. But if we shoot down enough of their spaceships because, oh, we think they're a threat to us, then maybe they would actually do something like that. So maybe it's not the best idea to just go randomly shooting down shit that we don't understand. And if anything, I get I don't have anything to back this up really, but I get my intuitive feeling that like the aliens want what's best for us as mankind, as humans. Like they want us to help like evolve and like not evolve like scientifically, but mentally and like spiritually. Like just take a look at Stephen Greer's work, and it's really insightful and it's really good. Not to mention that during World War II, wait, was it World War II or was it, I can't remember if it was World War II or during the Cold War, but like a lot of aliens were like preventing us from launching an atomic bomb or something somewhere, something like that. Or maybe it was in a nuclear facility. Oh God, I can't remember. So I'm just going to drop that one, but I digress.
And they'll remain classified so we don't give our roadmap to our enemies to try to evade our defenses. Going forward, these parameters will guide what actions we'll take while responding to unmanned and unidentified aerial objects. We're going to keep adapting them as the challenges evolve, if it evolves. In addition, I've directed my national security advisor to lead a...
One more thing, if this is like an official broadcast statement from the President of the United States, why don't they get a tripod? Why is the camera shaking back and forth like this? Like, if this was just like, this is just Joe Smo, like trying to make a video in his like home, I would forgive camera shaking wobbliness like this. But this is the President of the United States giving an address to millions and millions of people, and you got the camera just wobbling back and forth. Why? Is it not on a tripod? Is someone literally trying to hold this steady the whole time? Why not get a tripod then? Or get one of those big ass like, the big ass like television camera things that like hold the steady or whatever, that have stabilizers in and all that. Like, why is it shaking?
Government-wide effort to make sure we are positioned to deal safely and effectively with the objects in our airspace. First, we will establish a better inventory of unmanned airborne objects in space above the United States airspace, and make sure that inventory is accessible.
There's that whole airspace bullcrap again.
Second, we'll implement further measures to improve our capacity to detect unmanned objects in our airspace. Third,
wasn't it the first one?
The rules and regulations for launching and maintaining unmanned objects in the skies above the United States of America. And fourth, my Secretary of State will lead an effort to help establish common global norms in this largely unregulated space. These steps will lead to safer and more secure skies for our air travelers, our military, our scientists, and for people on the ground as well.
Underground, what?
That's my job as your President, Commander-in-Chief.
Wait. What about the people underground? Are you saying like they're like people in bunkers or something, or what? Are there like whole underground villages I'm unaware of? I mean, I know the whole conspiracy theory about like inner Earth, hollow Earth type thing. Is that what you're alluding to? Like all the like different possible races of people or giants that might be living underground or something. What? Like, there's not that many people usually living underground, I would think. Except maybe, like, even in bunkers, like, you would think they would only be in the bunkers if there's, like, a huge current threat of war that's, like, gonna break out any day or something. Like, do people regularly live underground? He brought it up again, but I just don't like the whole... This is our airspace. Like, I get it if you have some enemy nations... Again, I get it if you have some enemy nations ship flying in your airspace looking at like sensitive data that they might be able to use against us or whatever. But like, again, It's like, if it's not obviously a human, you see in those dystopia futures, like some video games and stuff, where it's like they like you can't even look up the sky anymore. They have like giant floating like neon light up billboards blocking the skies. Where it's like, before you could just look up and enjoy the night sky and the stars and everything and how beautiful that looks. And then it was like, nope, now you got like these giant billboards in the sky saying like, drink Slurm or drink Pepsi or vote for so and so here, like just blocking the whole skies. Is that what you're gonna be? Is this gonna be leading up to that? I hope not. I actually like looking at the stars, sir, even though there's a lot of light pollution where I live, but there's so many satellites up there anyway. I'm like, oh, that's kind of in low Earth orbit though. I don't know how high up in the sky he's actually talking about, because he didn't mention global. So are we talking low Earth orbit? Are we talking lower than that, to where like 10,000, 20,000 feet in the air where like airplanes fly? Is that what we're talking about? I don't know.
As the events of the previous days have shown, we'll always act to protect the interest of the American people and the security of the American people. Since I came to office, we've developed the ability to identify, track, and study high-altitude surveillance balloons.
Are you taking credit for that now?
Military.
They were probably working there for a while.
High-altitude surveillance balloons entered our airspace over the continental United States earlier in the month. I gave the order to shoot it down as soon as it would be safe to do so. The military advised against shooting it down over land because of the sheer size of it. It was the size of multiple school buses and posed a risk to people on the ground if it was shot down where people lived. Instead, we tracked it closely, we analyzed its capabilities, and we learned more about how it operates. And because we knew its path,
it's a balloon. It floats.
Sensitive sites against collection. We waited until it was safely over water, which would not only protect civilians, but also enable us to recover substantial components for further analysis, for further analytics. And then we shot it down, sending a clear message. The violation of our sovereignty is unacceptable. We'll act to protect our country, and we did. Now, this past Friday, we put restrictions on 6 firms that directly support the People's Republic Liberation Army, the People's Liberation Army Aerospace Program. That includes airships and balloons, denying them access to U.S. technology. We briefed our diplomatic partners and our allies around the world, and we know about China's program and where their balloons have flown. Some of them have also raised their concerns directly with China. Our exports have lifted components of the Chinese balloon's payload off the ocean floor. We're analyzing them as I speak, and what we learn will strengthen our capabilities. Now, we'll also continue to engage with China, as we have throughout the past 2 weeks. As I've said since the beginning of my administration, we seek competition, not conflict with China. We're not looking for a new Cold War, but I make no apologies, and we will compete. And we'll responsibly manage that competition so that it doesn't veer into conflict. This episode
probably too late for that at this
to
point.
maintain
Jesus.
open lines of communication between our diplomats and our military professionals. Our diplomats will be engaging further, and I will remain in communication with President Xi. I'm grateful for the work of the last several weeks of our intelligence, diplomatic, and military.
All right, yeah, stop talking about that.
Know and all we learn.
Sir, the question was it? There's been criticism. There's been criticism that this wasn't. There's been criticism that this. Sir, Mr. President, there has been criticism.
Man.
Did you overreact?
Mr. President, there has been criticism that this was an overreaction that was done because of political pressure.
Okay. You can come to my office and ask the question when you have more polite people.
Mr. President, why have you chosen Poland for your trip to mark anniversary of the war? And what's your message? What?
When are you speaking to President Xi, Mr. President?
Yeah, all right, that's enough for that. That was not quite as what I thought it was gonna be. Sorry about that. Thought he would be, yeah. So he's basically just assuming that everything that's unidentified in the U.S. U.S. airspace. It must be from China. Totally isn't a fucking anything else than some Chinese spy thing. Which, I mean, given that this was only like what, a couple weeks after the whole China balloon thing, maybe, but I mean, I'm like, no, not every single thing that you don't know about is from China. Sorry about that. I thought that would be go more into the actual recent UFO sightings going on, but apparently not. Yeah, but sorry about that. I thought it would go more into the whole recent UFO thing. But apparently, like I said, he mostly just thinks it's all just some shit from China or whatever. And I'm like, I think you should know better, given that you're president and you have access to all this classified information, which probably contains a lot of information about extraterrestrials that past presidents, past intelligence committees have dug up information, evidence, all that stuff. The whole Area 51 thing for sure, I'm sure. Or the Roswell cluster, I mean. Everything like that. Like, I'm pretty sure they have a lot of information and they're not willing to tell us. In a way, they're not willing to tell us because it's like they have leaked quite a lot of information, but they've done it quietly through like the White House, like black documents and stuff like that. They've recently unclassified a lot of older documents from like the 60s and stuff about alien sightings and interviews with people who have seen things and stuff like that. And it's like that, but they released it during COVID. So like when COVID was at its height, the government basically comes out, unclassifies all this data, all these like all this old documentation, and he's like, yeah, basically there are things we don't know where they're from, but they're not from Earth. Here's all the evidence. But like I said, they do it through COVID, so everyone's freaking out about like COVID-19 and the pandemic going on and everything. And they're like, well, you don't have time to worry about aliens. We're dying. We got all these vaccines we gotta take. You know, it's like everything's closed. So it's like they strategically picked the time where we're most distracted to leak this information so that we wouldn't really notice. But like, I was kind of hoping he would actually come out and actually say more about it. But obviously, I don't think he's allowed to just straight up have a news conference and be like, hey, yo, so aliens actually are a thing and actually exist. I don't think he's actually allowed to do anything like that. So he has to like allude to it a bit. And like, oh yeah, it's probably just China, whatever. Not to mention they like, yeah, like, oh yeah, and we released all this like paperwork and everything on the down low while you guys were all distracted. So it's like, I mean, I wouldn't really rely too much on what a figurehead of a president would say, but yeah, that's basically it for this video.